We are officially here, and finally, the Stanley Cup Finals are here. Okay, remember I did my pre-playoff prediction? I got the Eastern Conference right. Florida Panthers back in the Stanley Cup Finals for the third straight year. I came close in the Western Conference for a Canadian team. I had Winnipeg Jets originally, but nope, it's Edmonton again. Here we go again. Second year in a row. Is it just me or the NHL's trying to pull off a Wayne Gretzky, Sidney Crosby scenario for Connor McDavid? Hello, this is a legacy versus a dynasty. And I prefer to be on the dynasty. I trust the Florida Panthers more than the Edmonton Oilers as a spy like Mike Myers, a CIA spy. I mean, like, everyone wants Edmonton to win. I mean, like, it's like, here we go again. Dave Portnoy, he is just a selfish prick. Can you believe this a-hole clown? He's like, oh my God, I want the Oilers to win. Thank you, Mr. Viola, for bringing me all to these Florida Panther games. Dude, you're such a hypocrite. No one likes you anymore, Portnoy. No one likes you. And plus, I don't like how the media is like saying, "Oh, we want the chosen one to win." I mean, like, we've been through this 1,000 times in history. I mean, I'll tell you, it's the first time I've seen a here we go again scenario since the Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors 4 straight years in the NBA Finals. It gets old. It's stupid. It's annoying. I really don't care. And I gotta say, and the Florida Panthers are a very dangerous road team. Same thing with the Edmonton Oilers. They're both dangerously good on the road. Theoretically, if this was a 1-8 scenario, Florida Panthers would have home ice advantage. The Panthers have home ice advantage in a 1-8 scenario, but since it's the wild card formation, it's going to be the Oilers. Yeah, this series is going to be another theatrics and thrills. I'm going to say it's going to be the Florida Panthers in 6, 7 games. I gotta tell you, Edmonton, it's all or nothing. And if you weren't part of Canada and you were your own independent or possibly part of the United States, you guys have a better chance of winning the Stanley Cup and seceding from Canada at the same time. And I'll tell you, Sergei Bobrovsky is a dangerous goaltender. I mean, and the Panthers are a dangerous team too. If you look at their numbers, if you look at the Florida Panthers in their last several games on the road, the Panthers are just dangerous. I mean, we had 6-6, 5-5-5. I mean, it's one of those things. You're looking at the Florida Panthers as a very dangerous threat in the Stanley Cup Finals. And I'll tell you, Seth Jones is rejuvenated. It's like watching Larry Murphy fighting his game when he got traded to the Detroit Red Wings from the Toronto Maple Leafs. That was a blessing in disguise. Seriously, a blessing in disguise. And looking at what we have here, we've got 7 games and all of it's on exclusively on Max and True TV and TNT. And looking at this, I'll tell you, Panthers win 5-3 to close out the Hurricanes on the 28th. They lose 3-0 at home in game 4. Game 3, 6-2, then 5-0 on the road, 5-2 on the road, 6-1 on the road in Toronto, hostile environment. That was a game 7. They lose at home 2-0, 6-1 game 5. This Panthers team is very dangerous right now. And looking at Sergei Bobrovsky's numbers, if you want to talk about Bob is playing lights out. Listen to this. On the road in the playoffs so far this year, in the playoffs, 8 wins, 2 losses, a goals against average of 2.12 goals against average, save percentage 0.914 save percentage, and 2 shutouts and 5 wins on the road in a row. Now that is pretty goddamn impressive. And let's see what we have on the balance. And I'll say this, this right here is going to be a very close series. And look at this. Calvin Picard helped out the Oilers out because he had to bail out Stuart Skinner. They're 12-4-0. And let's put it this way. Calvin Picard, who helped Stuart Skinner, who was struggling. It's all about mental game. It's always a mental game. So on average, the goals against for Edmonton, 2.81 goals against, save percentage, 0.896 with three shutouts. Stuart Skinner getting the shutouts, very impressive. Stuart Skinner's got a 0.904 save percentage. And then a 2.53 goals against. And let's go over to the Florida Panthers. Sergei Bobrovsky, 12-5, played all the playoff games, lights out. 2.11 goals against average with a 0.912 save percentage and three shutouts. And it's pretty clear that you trust the goaltending. And if you look at any scenario, the depth is there on both sides. Both sides, I believe, have improved. The Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers have improved. And I'll tell you, it's very interesting. Let's see. The Edmonton Oilers last year, the players aren't on the team. You got Philip Broberg, you got Sam Carrick, you got Cody Ceci, you got Vincent Desjardins, Warren Foegele, Dylan Holloway, and Ryan McLeod. This year, you've got Victor Arvidsson, Ty Emerson, Trent Frederick, Max Jones, Kasperi Kapanen, John Klingberg, Vasi Polskinen, Jeff Skinner, and Jake Wallman. For the Florida Panthers last year, players who were there but not there anymore. You had Nick Cousins, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Spencer Knight, Brandon Montour, Ryan Lomberg, Stephen Lawrence, Kyle Pozo, Anthony Stolarz, and Vladimir Tarasenko. This year, the players who are in on the Florida Panthers as the replacements, Jasper Bolfquist, Seth Jones, Brad Marchand, Thomas Nosek, Nico Sturm, Nate Schmidt, and Vantek Vanacek. And I'll tell you, both sides improved. It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to go to 6-7 games. The NHL wants this to happen. I don't trust Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. We've seen it before when the Panthers in the history back in the day. Remember back in the day, they took down Eric Lindros and the Legion of Doom line in the second round in 96. And they took out Yamir Yager and Mario Lemieux in the conference finals. I mean, the Florida Panthers are a strong defensive team. Very strong defensive team. And that depth is going to be an amazing feeling. All right. So you got the power play. So the Oilers have a 30% power play. The Florida Panthers, though, 23.2. Then you've got the penalty kill. The Oilers are at 66%. That is like second worst, third worst in the playoffs. Panthers have an 87.9% penalty kill. Number one in the playoffs. And then face-off percentage, you got the Oilers at a 48.4%. And then you got the Panthers with the second worst with a 45.6%. Goals for per game, you got the Florida Panthers at 3.88 and the Oilers at a 4.06. Very close, very close. And then you got the goals against. The Florida Panthers are at a 2.29 and the Oilers are at 2.81. And I'll tell you, I trust the Florida Panthers more. I know I'm being biased. I do not want this to happen. Here we go again. Let's make it theatrics and climax of, oh yeah, let's get Connor McDavid a Stanley Cup. We got to preserve the kid's legacy, the chosen one, the Messiah. I mean, hey, I gotta tell you, next year, I believe it will be the last year to have McDavid and Draisaitl and the gang together. I think they have a better chance of winning next year. I don't trust Stuart Skinner. I don't trust the Edmonton goaltending. I trust the Panthers goaltending much more. The Panthers defense, is slightly better, but not slightly. I am saying they are a much improved defense from last year. I love having the Nate Schmidt Dmitry Kulikov pairing. I love Nico Nikola on with Zep Jones, Goose and Aaron Ekblad. That is a great setup. I mean, Ekblad and having Klingberg. Klingberg's healthy finally, but I don't trust the Edmonton Oilers. The Panthers are gritty. They're mean. Gritty and mean and toughness and a grind win you championships. Flashes of offensive firepower, it doesn't do anything. We remember back in 1995, the Red Wings were like seemingly undefeated and unbeatable. And then when they were introduced to the New Jersey Devils trap defense in 1995, the Red Wings got obliterated. Defense, a suffocating defense against a high flying power offense. At the end of the day, you go with that shutdown, suffocating defense. You go with that. Don't go with that. Here we go again. It's the same thing with the Oilers. They're going to rely on that speed and speed. The Panthers, they love that grit and barrier and dirtiness. They are that team is destined to be a dynasty. I don't care about legacies. Legacies, Connor McDavid is the best player in the world. I get it. I get Connor McDavid is one of the best players in the world. He's one of the best centers in the league. He's got everything, but I don't trust him in a small market. It's a hurdle. I am going to predict next summer Connor McDavid will leave the Edmonton Oilers. He's not going to go to Toronto. He's not going to go Vancouver. He's not going to go to the New York Rangers or the Chicago Blackhawks. Connor McDavid, this is going to sound controversial. Get your checkbooks ready, Detroit Red Wings. Connor McDavid will be a Red Wing next summer. I'm telling you, the Red Wings are on the rise. We all know McDavid is going to leave Edmonton. I would too. If the pressure and the anxiety, I just can't trust the Oilers. They made some improvements, but I simply cannot trust their defense. I can't simply trust, their depth. They got very strong offense. I mean, losing Zach Hyman, that was costly. Zach Hyman would have been a huge help for the Edmonton Oilers. And Zach Hyman, if he didn't get hurt, the Oilers would be the Stanley Cup champs in the next couple weeks. I'm not kidding. I like Zach. He knows how to play. He is like a Sam Bennett type of player, but it sucks to see a player like Hyman not playing for the rest of the playoffs. I simply cannot trust the Edmonton Oilers. It's the Florida Panthers. They're repeating, and I've got either Sergei Bobrovsky or Sasha Barkov winning the Conn Smythe Trophy. Sorry, Connor, individualism can't lead you championships. It's a team effort. The Florida Panthers, they simply have a better depth. They have the perfect set of forwards, and you've got the perfect defense, and the goaltending has been spectacular. I've been very skeptic with Edmonton. I've been very skeptic with Stuart Skinner, and you know, I'll tell you, Edmonton is going to realize that their subpar average goaltending and defense isn't going to solve the Florida Panthers' grit and toughness. And I'll tell you, high flying offense is going to be suffocated. So if you want to talk about this, so we've got Sasha Barkov with 17 points for the Panthers. That's the leader in the point category for the Panthers. And you've got Connor McDavid with 26 points. And then you got Sam Bennett with 10 goals and Leon Draisaitl with 7. You've got Sasha Barkov with 11 assists, and then you got Connor McDavid with 20. This is going to be basically, like I said, legacy, Connor McDavid's legacy against the Florida Panthers dynasty. I mean, the Panthers have been there 3 years in a row. And the Oilers, they trying to repeat what Gretzky did back in 84. In 83, they lost to the New York Islanders when the Islanders won 4 straight Stanley Cups in a row. And then a year later, the Islanders were driving for 5. And guess what happens? Gretzky gets his first Stanley Cup at home in Edmonton. Then you've got years later, you got the Dynasty Detroit Red Wings against the legacy of Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins. The difference is Sidney Crosby, you know, went to the Cup Finals his third year, and his cast of players, it was just unbelievable. They lose to the Red Wings in 6 games. 1 year later, Crosby gets his first Stanley Cup against the Red Wings. And listen, the Red Wings dynasty died. All right, the Red Wings dynasty died. The Penguins dynasty was born. Their legacy and dynasty, the Red Wings just went boop, gone. Now we're in that crossroads here again. I'm going to say this. I'm saying this over and over again. The Florida Panthers have everything set for them. They are built for the playoffs. They're a tough team. I am going to go Florida Panthers 6 games. I know you're all going to hate me for it. I don't think Canada is going to be happy with me with it. I am saying that the Florida Panthers are the NHL's new leader and example of a new dynasty. And I think Edmonton is going to win it next year. I think Florida, with their salary cap situation, I really think Florida is a playoff team next year. But Edmonton, if I were them, I get a goalie. You've got to make a move. You got to get someone to win you a Stanley Cup. You've got to get something good in return. I'm just excited for tonight. I hope you guys are excited. This right here is going to be one of the most anticipating Cup Finals. And don't forget, the Panthers were on TNT 2 years ago in the Cup Finals against the Vegas Golden Knights. And that series went just to 5 games. The Panthers, though, they were banged up. They didn't get healthy in the time, and Vegas, it was meant to be for them. I really think it's going to be a very compelling, interesting night. And don't forget, tomorrow we will be covering last night's games. And I would like to apologize to my viewers that why I haven't been on the air the last few weeks. I've been very busy cleaning up, getting packed and moving back to Michigan for the summer, work, blah blah blah. So, yeah, I'm excited for this Cup final rematch. And like I said, I do not trust the Oilers. You know, I really think Florida has got the better depth all around. And, you know, Stuart Skinner, I just can't trust you, bro. I can't trust you. And, Florida and Edmonton, like, hopefully it's not like last year where the Panthers win the first 3 games, the Oilers win the next 3 games, and then climatically for a film theatrics for game 7. I would like to see it go back and forth instead of beating to a pulp and then get tired and then the other guy beats you up to a pulp and then you're both tired and then the first one falls, loses. I would like to see it go back and forth this time. Back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, so right here, right now. And it's going to be a very much like a, hostile environment. Edmonton's going to be a very hostile environment. And, the Panthers, they know what it's like. They've been there, done that. And don't forget, the Florida Panthers beat the Edmonton Oilers both times this season. Yeah, the Florida Panthers beat the Oilers both times, not once, but twice. And I'll tell you, this will be one of those things, I'll tell you, like going back to the schedule. So the Panthers played the Oilers and the Florida Panthers on December 16th. The Oilers lost to the Florida Panthers 6-5. And then we go to February. that the Florida Panthers win 4-3. Oh, yeah. My thing is, I am going to see a very close game. All 7 games, 6 games. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes that far. 1 goal games. I'm going to be on the edge of my seat for most of these games. And, if I get annoyed, whatever, by the broadcast, don't worry. Always get, with the Florida Panthers radio network app and the Edmonton Oilers. Like, yeah, for those fans out there who want to watch the game without the national neutral bias from the networks, listen to your hometown team radio. That's how I did it last year. I got sick and tired of ESPN's biased and their obnoxious behavior. So that's why I decided, okay, I'm going to go listening to my hometown team instead of something national and not neutral. Oh, yeah. Okay, this has been 2 Minutes in the Box with Gordo, the daily grind news and rumors and updates. This has been a special for pre-game game one of Stanley Cup Finals. Tomorrow we'll be recapping game one and previewing game two. And don't forget, guys, like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Rumble, etc. This has been 2 Minutes in the Box with Gordo. Have a great rest of the day, everybody.